I'm detail orientated, and I like to see how things are built and go together, maybe more than the conceptual vision. I unfortunately maybe had some experiences early on where, yes, the team around me was very... We're always challenged with trying to get things done quicker than we would like. Stay engaged, stay curious, always try to learn something new with every opportunity you're given. Very, male dominated, and maybe didn't respect me in a way that nowadays that would never happen. Being a female in the industry, I feel there's much less stereotyping, or it's much more open and collaborative.
Hello and welcome to the next edition of the Specialist View podcast. I am your host, Kieran O'Hagan, and throughout this series we've been taking the opportunities to speak with people within the industry and within other businesses that we collaborate with in order to see how we can continue to grow and innovate as human beings and as businesses within an ever-changing industry. Today I'm joined by Laura Warholic, Senior Associate and Technical Director at Gensler. So Laura, you're very welcome on the show.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Great to have you. Before we go into anything more, I'd like to give you a little bit of Laura's background. To the best of my knowledge, she's in the industry for over 20 years, maybe nearly 25, although we can't say that. You've been in London for almost 18 years, started off your career in Gensler back in the US, and I must say that I have had the personal pleasure of working with you on a few projects, and the one piece that I will always remember is you give clear direction and you know what you're about. And I think that's really important in today's world. I think sometimes direction is miscommunicated and it can just cause lots of confusion. So Laura, tell me a wee bit about yourself from a listener's point of view, a wee bit of information about yourself.
So I am a technical director and senior associate at Gensler. I am from the US originally. I have moved to London 18 years ago now, which is hard to think it's been that long. I grew up in a small town farming community, maybe similar to you, in northern Ohio. I went to university at a design school in southern Ohio, and then throughout that period, my family had moved to North Carolina.
Yes.
So after 9/11 happened, there was a bit of downturn in the economy. I then moved from a small practice in Ohio to Gensler in North Carolina. So I had worked there for 2 years, and I could see that they were a global firm that had some offices internationally. So I asked for a transfer to London, and it happened. And here we are 18 years later.
Unbelievable. So you came from a farming community?
I did, yes.
In Ohio, which is similar to where I come from myself, in Ohio, but
yes.
Went to university there, and you actually started out your working life with Gensler.
I had a few years at a small practice before that, but then then went to Gensler, yes.
It just demonstrates again the power of international companies and the opportunities that sit within them.
Exactly.
You know, particularly for anybody, I always say for young people today that are thinking of travelling, if they can get on board with a company like Gensler or something like that, then they can, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And obviously you've made a life out of it in London.
Yeah. And there are, opportunities everywhere. And there's people that have, within our firm, that have worked in multiple offices around the world.
It's really, really nice. Yes. So what qualities do you think are important to an interior designer today?
So I think today, if you're just coming out of school, let's say, you need to be curious, you need to be open-minded, you kind of need to not jump before you can, or walk before you can jump. It takes time, I guess, within the industry to, I don't know, work your way up. Just be patient. I think if you can find a mentor or someone that you respect, really leverage them to, help you navigate the industry, if you can, and just get as much experience as you can.
Yeah, from a point of view, somebody coming new into the industry, getting a mentor, sort of trying to be patient with the career,
Yes.
open-minded, and imagine creativity.
Yes.
I'm probably not the right type of individual to be an interior designer, and I'm sure those that go on that journey, it's a different type of mindset, a different type of brain.
I think you're right, and I think that's kind of maybe how I ended up where I am today. I went through the interior design education, but I don't know. I don't feel I'm as creative or have the same mindset as some other more successful designers. So I navigated more towards the documentation, technical delivery, project delivery side of things because, I don't know, I'm detail orientated and I like to see how things are built and go together, maybe more than the conceptual vision of a project.
Yeah, but it takes everybody to make it work.
Exactly.
And that's why you've been successful and you've come through. So it's kind of like, I feel if we're going to have the right joiners in our factory or on our sites, you've got to start off at ground level, grassroots, where you went through the interior design route,
Yes.
And now you're at project director level. Like I went through a similar journey.
Yes.
Started off as a wood machinist and a furniture assembler.
Yeah.
And then you sort of step by step, you've made good progress, and it's nice. I believe it's nice to see that what once was an idea actually turn into fruition.
Exactly.
And probably most of them ideas, the original ideas, the difficulty I feel we have is making sure we don't diminish them when we come to this side of delivery.
Yeah.
Because of VE or all the different challenges that are thrown at us.
Exactly.
Yes. How do you feel? Like, do you feel today there's a lot of, sometimes we've come up with a great idea at the start and we've really understood what the client wants and the vision of where they're coming from, and then we get to a point where it comes down to money at the very end. Do you find there's a lot of that in this?
Let's see. I wouldn't say necessarily the money bit, but it's making it actually feasibly possible in reality.
Yes.
So I value the relationships we have with people like yourselves, that if we have a great idea that we just maybe don't know how to execute it, that we can lean on yourselves or people, experts within the industry, to kind of help us work out the detail to make it work. And hopefully it's still within program and budget and the client's happy. And at the end of the day, it's final results everybody loves. But yeah, I think I love that it's a big collaboration between the design team, the contractor, the delivery team. It's everyone working together to try to solve a problem.
Yeah, I like that about myself, and I suppose the challenges within the challenge is probably what gets us going in the morning.
Exactly. I love one of the main things I love about this industry is I'm always learning. Mm-hmm. Every day you're learning something new. So yeah, those challenges, yes, can get you up in the morning to figure out, how am I going to solve this problem?
And I'm not preempting here, but the supply chain, I'm not just talking about ourselves, like the broader supply chain within the industry, would you find we're all quite helpful in trying to bring things to life?
I would say yes. Yes, there are some brilliant people in this industry that really, some are different than others, but yes, generally everybody wants to do a great job and wants to work with you to make sure you'll be happy at the end of the day. And that's another great thing I love about working here.
We would find that because we're always collaborating on every job, whether it's the M&E people.
Exactly.
Well, it's the tile people, the ceilings people. It's a collaboration all along, and you just find that most people along that journey are very helpful, and it just
Yes.
makes our lives so much easier whenever we all come together.
Exactly. And just, I think people maybe outside the industry, they they have no idea about how many people you have to collaborate with. Like maybe you think this is a simple design room, let's say, or something, but you don't realize you have to collaborate with the M&E guys and the tiling guys. And there's so many people that you have to coordinate with that I think a lot of people, maybe even our clients, don't even appreciate the amount of work that, goes in the background to get something delivered.
They probably don't, but then that's probably as much our fault, because I feel that we protect your clients. And,
Yes.
and we don't want them to know all the hard work that's going on in the background and all the challenges that we're having. So there's probably an element of that we don't show them.
Yes, and do we need to maybe a bit more, just so
On occasions, it
They
probably
don't-
does no harm.
they don't, or they can appreciate why it's taking maybe a little bit longer to resolve something when they feel it can be done in 5 minutes, kind of thing.
Well, I think so. The world that some of these people come from is much different. And they're seeing it through a different set of lenses, and that's absolutely fine. And it's our job, I suppose, in that we're doing our job in that. So they've come up with an idea, they've given us a job, and we've decided we're going to try to deliver on that. I do think sometimes we protect the clients, which we have to.
Yeah.
Some of them actually do like to get engaged. I've found of late a few jobs where
Okay. Yeah.
they really want to get involved in that, as it's pluses and minuses for everybody, So
Yes.
because it can change a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. Yes.
Um,
I think at the end, or if I reflect back on projects through my career, though, I think some of the most memorable or ones that stick with me are the ones where the client is more engaged
Yes.
through the whole process. The whole team is along for the ride.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, I suppose that they're the kingpin at the top of the team, and if they're involved,
Yeah.
then everybody buys in that little bit more.
Yes. I think you're right. Yes.
We could see that along the journey as well. So
Yeah.
we've touched a wee bit there, Laura, on like the client getting potentially more involved, and on the projects that you've maybe worked on where the client has got more involved. You felt that it maybe brings, maybe not your words, but a different energy to the team, and there's a better engagement throughout the whole team. So there maybe is somewhere in there where maybe it would be good for people to change and get the client a wee bit closer to the project. That would be.
I think definitely, yes. It's more, I think for the whole team, it's more enjoyable and collaborative if you have an engaged client.
Yeah.
For sure.
And is there anything in your mind that sort of sets Gensler apart? And I know there's many good practices in the world, but I think it sort of sets them apart.
Maybe there's a few things. I think Gensler has a big body of research. We do loads of research.
Okay.
So that is very beneficial that we can tap into that to feed into how we can maybe guide clients in different ways. Clients a lot of times ask us, I don't know, how what's the future of the workplace, which is a very difficult question to answer. But I think we have some research behind us that can maybe give us an advantage of what other industries are doing, what other companies are doing, and how we can guide new clients into getting a result that they are happy with. I also think I've worked at Gensler for 20 years. I may be out of the loop on how other firms are working at the moment, but I feel we really try to get the client along from the very beginning to create a vision and a journey from the beginning. I think if we look at our portfolio of work, that we don't have like a house style. Every project is very different. We don't try to copy and paste things from one project to the other. It's very tailored to the individual client. I also think we're not the only firm in the industry doing this, but from a sustainability point of view, Gensler has a set of minimum criteria for sustainable products that we can specify on projects, which I think with the whole way sustainability is going in the industry, we need to set a benchmark for some of those things so that we can, I don't know, make the environment a better place in the future.
100%, 100%. And it's so much a conversation, the sustainability in our own business. So you got the two sides of it in our business, and it's probably the same for Gensler. It's what can we do from a point of view of our own carbon footprint as a business. And then the second side of it is what can we do then? So that's only really about neutralizing what carbon we produce as a business.
Yeah.
But it's like, the second side is what can we do and what we make to make the products more sustainable, and there's some of the reuse of materials, and there's a lot of conversation going on about demountable furniture and stuff that could be used for repurposed after maybe 10 years shelf life in an office. So there's a lot of that conversation going on, and I think it's important and it's needed.
Yes.
We're just sitting here today, like it's 18 degrees in London. It'll soon be the 1st of November. And what's going on?
Exactly.
You know, so there is a change to weather and climate, whether we want to admit it as human beings or not.
Yes.
We've got to do our bit. But I do think this industry's been quite proactive. Would you agree in that?
Great question. I think in the last maybe 3 to 5 years, yes. And I have seen some momentum in the last 18 months that it's even picking up even more.
Yes.
So I think looking ahead into the future, I really would love it that, I don't know, there's a network or some kind of process out there where people can tap into materials that are left over or available, that there's distribution centers around the country where you can, I don't know, log on and see who has what, and then we can reuse as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I see it coming. I am positive in that I can see something happening.
Yeah. It's interesting you say 3 to 5 years, because you're right. We feel the same. Probably started pre-COVID, but it's a bit like a snowball starting at the top of a mountain, and then it becomes a massive one when it gets to the bottom.
Yes.
It's getting up that momentum and speed, and when it's in conversation, then it's in mind. So let's start off in the mind, then it's now in conversation. We've actually started to do something about parts of it.
Well, yeah, I think that's the big difference. Is there's been a lot of talk and conversation, but now I feel we're seeing some action or results that are tangible.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I remember the mobile phone coming into and the vogue. So, and I'm not that old for anybody listening, but I do remember that happening. When we were watching cartoons as children, you might have seen somebody on a mobile phone and you thought, what's that all about? But actually it was in conversation, it was an idea, and it came to fruition, and I'm really hopeful that sustainability does the same.
Agreed. Agreed.
And I think it will.
I think
it will.
I'm very hopeful, or I'm seeing the wheels turning, so yes.
I think our children, number one, we need to do it for them and for their children coming behind. And the second thing is I think it's not just a conversation for them. So back at home my children are talking about separating out the rubbish and what.
Yes.
Them small things are being taught at school, but every one of them makes a difference. So I think it's started to be put into the children at a young age now.
Yeah,
to be caring.
It's the norm for them.
It's the norm.
Yes.
Where we're feeling we have to change, they're going to grow up with it. This is the way it's going to be.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
And even as them young interior designers come into the market, that's what they've been brought up with. So they're going to be an even bigger focus on it than maybe we have.
Agreed. Yeah, and we are seeing that with some of the young designers that are coming into the firm. Their focus on sustainability is much more advanced or at top of mind than it was definitely 18 years ago or in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully it's positive.
It's a big positive change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your opinion, Laura, where do you see the industry going? Like, say, in the next 3 to 5 years, and then I know we'll be asked moonshot questions of where we'll be in 10 years at times. but they're very. In your opinion, where do you see in this, or the challenges we're going to face?
Yeah, tough question. I mean, like I just said, I'm hoping 3 to 5 years we'll have this distribution network or an easier way to divert things from the landfill. Maybe, I mean, we've been talking about this for years. Maybe there will be a different way in that how we deliver our drawings, for instance. I mean, there's been a big influx of, we do things in 3D now with the Revit models and the modeling that takes place on projects. Maybe there'll be, I don't know, maybe you'll get different types of drawings from us, or you won't get drawings. You'll just get a model or something that you have to build off of. I don't know. Can you see that happening?
I can actually, because
does that happen already?
In very small parts, but like as a business, we do a lot of 2D drawing, as you would understand, to get shop drawings and stuff done for actual manufacture. But we've brought a system into the business over the last number of months. It's based on SolidWorks, and then it's a CAD CAM system that goes on to the side of that, which helps. You can build up a library, and it helps with the programming of machines, and probably takes a wee bit of the thinking out of how we put product together. So labour skills are a shortage for us.
Okay.
And trying to get things a wee bit more digital manufacturing and using bits of robotics within the factories where we can, that's been driven, and we really need a 3D drawing in order to get that all to work.
Okay, yep.
So we've started with that. There's a wee cohort of designers within our business, and they're starting to learn this at this point. There's 6 of them. So I'm hoping that over the next 3 to 5 years, we hopefully all be working with a 3D drawing at some level. Or as you say, maybe no drawing. Maybe it'll be models. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. And I think you touched on something there. I think generally maybe the industry might be moving towards maybe a bit more system-based end product, where there's so many, like the building regulations, fire safety, all those new things coming into the projects kind of mean everything needs to be tried and tested and certified, because we need to make sure it's compliant at the end of the day. So maybe there'll be less bespoke elements being designed in our projects. Maybe. I don't know.
I think
for certain aspects.
I think you've touched on a good point. I think it'll hit on 2 points. To get sustainability moving at the right pace,
True, yeah.
We're going to have to modularize things.
Yes.
Like for me, I can't understand why we need 20 different door sizes within the one building.
Yes.
But that's because of either opening size, or there's always a good reason behind it. But we're going to have to modularize things. But I do think, well, it'd be fair to say there's always going to be a bespoke element within projects, because everybody has to put their piece,
I hope, yes,
and their culture to it.
I hope so, yes.
It really has to be, Laura.
It has to be, yes. I think maybe for some of the more, I don't know, partitions, doors, maybe not joinery so much, but some elements, glazed partitions, they may be the ones that are more systemized or modular.
Yeah.
There'll always be, some other elements of bespokeness out there.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be a very valuable exercise, like to look at standard, say, sheet materials, for example.
Exactly. Yes.
If it's 2.4 high, why do we need this 2.450?
I know.
Because it means then we've got the waste. We have to buy a bigger sheet, and we've got this piece here that's absolutely no good to anything. I think we probably could do a job from our perspective as a joinery manufacturer, and potentially trying to help educate the project designers, and I'm not meaning that, but educate them on these parameters of certain materials, so that could cut down on loads of waste. Like, it's a real easy win.
Exactly. Yes, I think that's
a quick one.
A great idea, and I know in our minds we want to do that all the time. Sometimes just it's you have other things to do, and that just you don't have time for that. But I think maybe once it becomes more ingrained in our minds of, I don't know, we know what a standard sheet size of X, Y, or Z is, it will become second nature that we change the way we try things from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think we can that's an easy one if we can get that bit done. And I would honestly say in this, and I say it to anybody, if there's somewhere that us as a manufacturing business can support our colleagues within the industry with information about that, just ring and ask, because we want the help.
Yeah. Do you still find a lot of waste or some things that, I don't know, is there anything that you see on a regular basis that gets wasted?
Yeah, I suppose it just, as a bespoke nature of the jobs continues to be bespoke, and that's what we are as a bespoke manufacturer, there tends to be a bit of waste, yes. I would say we've got 20%, maybe 25% waste overall. Some of that's of our own making. But I do think if there's probably a 10% of that could be cut down at a guess, with a wee bit more collaboration early on standard materials and sheet sizes and veneer sizes and so on.
Yeah.
Like particular veneers, I've seen us, Laura, having 80 to 100% waste. Yeah. Just to try to get the book matching the way that it needed to be, to get the sap grains out of it. Yes. Yeah, and I get it. The person that's doing a job with Gensler or Specialist Group, they're Rolls Royce clients. Yeah. They're paying well, then they're expecting a Rolls Royce service, Ferrari service, Disney service. Yeah. So it's just getting the balance between that waste and veneers. Terrible lot of waste, to be fair. Okay. Yes. Trying to get it matched and to get it right. Yeah. But that's part of what we do. Yeah. I'm not complaining about it. It's just a sustainability issue.
Yeah, and it's just we just need to keep the conversation open so we can do whatever we can.
Do what we can. Yeah. Me personally, like I like veneer that's not matched because it's random.
Okay.
For me personally. Yes. Because when we go to that extent of matching it right through, it almost looks too fake. But that's just my personal taste, and that's the way the world works, because we're all different. If you were advising, Laura, someone starting out in that journey, young person today, thinking of getting into the industry that we're in from an interior design point of view, maybe their view on trying to get the project management level like what you're doing, what would be the one key thing that you would tell them to?
Oh, I think, what would I say? Stay engaged, stay curious, always try to learn something new with every opportunity you're given. I think be a good listener. I don't know. That's
twice or three times you mentioned the word curious. So I think that's that's the one. So it's really about staying curious and trying to curious about everything and keeping open-minded.
Exactly. Yes. For me. That's
your basic.
That's my my advice, and that's I think why I'm still passionate about my job today. And always learning is something I thrive on.
Yeah. Yes. That's what matters to us all. It's a continuous development.
Exactly.
So it is. Do you see the market busy within the next couple of years in the London fit-out industry?
I do. I know, like in the last 2 years, there's been a lot of mega projects, or there's been a lot of big projects on the go. I don't know if it will slow down a little bit from those massive scaled, or maybe the next few years they'll be smaller scale.
Yes.
But at this moment, I think it will stay busy. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And
good, because you normally see that way before we see it, or a contractor sees it. You've been engaged from the very early days. So if you're feeling like that, I think you're right. There's been an awful lot of mega projects been delivered now in 24, 25, and probably into 26.
Yes.
We can't forget that actually the projects that got us here were all the smaller ones as well. So there's pluses and minuses for everything. But it's good that there's positivity within the industry.
Yes.
And there does seem to be a need for new people coming in at all levels and all trades, and whether that's interior design, whether it's project management, whether it's in joinery or
Yes.
M&E, there's a lot of people needed to make this industry work, and there's good opportunities in it.
Yes, 100%. Yes. We're, very busy at the moment, and trying to hire. And so, there's lots of opportunities out there.
It's brilliant.
Yes.
That's brilliant. Very positive.
Yes.
And I think we've hit on this, but the biggest challenge facing the industry today.
Great question. I don't know if this is going to sound cliche. I think time, like, we're always challenged with trying to get things done quicker than we would like.
Yes.
So I think if there was a way to not elongate the process, but I don't know, it just always seems there's not enough time.
So it's a time constraint.
Time constraints, yes. But it's hard to define why that is or how to fix it. I feel there's so much information. Every project nowadays has so much information behind it, and to keep it all straight and to get it integrated into the project at the right time and coordinated with everybody else in the time frame we have, there's never enough time. So I think we look to people like yourselves to help. If there was an element that we didn't have enough time to develop so much, we would look to the subcontractors to help finish it off. But time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very real problem probably for us all.
I know.
Because
Yes.
time is a big constraint, and I suppose there's a balance in there somewhere of time versus sort of finance, because everything's program driven. But it's just about trying to. I always say in our own business is about us working smarter, not harder. And there's so many systems out there. There's probably elements within jobs we double up on.
Yeah, exactly.
And we didn't realise we doubled up on until we got to the end. And it's just about trying to focus it and try to make better use, I think, of our time. I think it's fair to say it's unlikely we're going to get more time to do jobs.
Yes, I think you're right. And you're right. Sometimes there's too many processes. I don't know. Are we making life hard on ourselves unnecessarily with too many processes, or are we trying? You mentioned the time and the cost, but then there's also the quality, that old triangle of elements. If you want the Rolls Royce, it's hard to fit it in the time sometimes. I don't know. It's a delicate balance that you try to keep.
I think you're 100% right, Laura. It's hard to explain that you feel that the end user wants a Rolls Royce service, which they deserve. They want the Rolls Royce quality, which they deserve, and then there's potentially big time constraints in here.
Yes.
And particularly when you move outside of the standard materials and so on, some of these more sustainable materials, they can be long lead-in times, and maybe sizes are different from what we're used to working with, and maybe the product reacts differently because it's all new to it all. And we've had some of these challenges of late, so that's why they're coming to mind, where product reacts differently. You expect it to maybe, we have a product that is delaminating at the moment, a recyclable product, and something that neither us nor the designers nor anyone on the project really allowed for, but we'll get around it, we'll get over it in some way. But when you're working with new stuff and new products, you have that issue. But time is a constraint. For us, time is a constraint. People are a constraint. But I just think it's important that we try to use our time better, and I think you hit on it there, around processes. I think it's very interesting.
Yes.
Because we've started a journey in our own business called Lean.
Oh yes, I'm familiar with that.
So there's actually a local company, and they have taken Lean to a new level where there's companies coming from all around the world to see them. And the guy has written a book, Lean Made Simple.
Okay.
And the guy's called Ryan Tierney. But and he puts it in a language that we could all understand. You could take it into your own home or take it anywhere and within our businesses. So it's a culture change and a change for us. But I think the piece in it that we're looking at the moment is if a process it's like value add or non-value add. And if a process is not adding value to the project, it's very simple. We don't need it.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's, yeah. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, yes.
And we're sort of trying to cut through it to see, we're probably doubling up on some things. There's other things we're missing. There's other things if we were doing, they would make a real difference to the speed of things. So it would help us with our time.
I think, yeah. And from our point of view, maybe, I don't know, maybe as an example, analogy with working with you guys, maybe we spend way too much time detailing all the joinery elements when maybe we, I don't know, give less information where you would easily be able to do the same product or drawing or whatever, whether you had the super detailed bit of information or you had the more simplified one. So yeah, do we sometimes over document things because no one's ever going to really look at it? I don't know. There's processes we're always challenging ourselves, like, do we really need to do that? What's important to convey the message, or what's the contractor really going to want out of this set of information that we're issuing? Yeah. So
it's an ever-changing world.
It is.
It's and that's why I like it. It changes all the time. Our challenges will change in 3 to 5 years' time, Laura.
Yes.
So, Laura, you've been in the industry 18 years here in London, 2 years back in the US. I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes over that, but, my question to you is, could you give us a wee bit of insight into what positive changes you've seen over the last 18 years? And if there's a negative one, that's fair enough too.
No. Yes, great question. I think some of the biggest changes, and maybe some are more recent than others, but I think introducing the role of a design manager on the contractor side is something that wasn't around when I first started. So I think that has helped. Again, we were speaking earlier about the time constraints. I think having that person in the team now can help make things go faster if there were things that need to be resolved that weren't documented initially. So that role wasn't something that was around when I first started. I think being a female in the industry, I feel there's much more less stereotyping, or it's much more open and collaborative, non-male dominated as when I first came here. I think I unfortunately maybe had some experiences early on where, yes, the team around me was very male dominated and maybe didn't respect me in a way that nowadays that would never happen. So I think that's a positive change. What else? I think things that stay the same. Everyone, I think, wants to really do a really good job. I think people want to have fun. The industry, I think, as a whole, is great. It's
a
great.
Fun industry.
It's a very fun industry. I've made some really great connections. People that I've worked with for almost 18 years, and they're still in the industry today. Another thing I love seeing the consultants that I worked with are now, they're moving up in their careers. So someone that I worked with as a junior electrical engineer is now head of a division at a MEP firm now, or, it's great to see that we're all growing up together.
Development.
Yes. So that's really nice. I think some of those are some of the main changes.
So the big changes for you have been really the design manager was the big thing.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
It's hard for me to understand because from my time in this industry, I've only known a design manager to be there.
Yes.
I suppose we're in this particular industry maybe 13 or 14 years at this point, so
Yeah, that I would say is probably about when they started coming in,
round the point of that.
or maybe they were there in the past. They just had a different title. I don't know, but I feel it's more relevant now.
Yeah,
you have to fix that.
But and then it's interesting that you bring us on into the female introduction into the construction industry.
Yes.
Like I again have probably never known it any other way than that, but it's different when you're seeing it from the lens of a male.
Okay.
Than
Yes.
where you've been at, and it's sad in ways to hear that you've maybe had a negative experience in some of it in years gone by. Mm-hmm. But it's really positive to hear that that's just now not acceptable.
Yes.
I'm a great believer in equal opportunities. I'm also a great believer in employing the right person to do the job. And I don't care whether they're male or female, but there's a person to do the job, and that's just employ the right person.
Exactly,
and the best skilled person for that job. And I think it's a big thing in the industry, woman in the workplace, and hey, it can only be great. It feels great.
Yes, yeah.
You also touch on a point that it's still a very fun industry, so obviously it was fun 18 years ago.
Yes, it was, yes.
There is a lot of fun in it, and I must say I enjoy it.
Yes.
And you make so many friends across all different things. And there's never a job you go to that you don't need help from somebody. So we can't be independent. We may need help from an MEP man, although we're joining contractors. And it's nice if you've built up a friendship and a relationship. It can really help move a project time again. Yeah. If you've got relationships, it helps move a project forward.
100%, yes.
So it does.
Yes.
And it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here with us today. It's just great to have people from the industry speaking from the heart. And if we can do one or two people good, if somebody listens to this and it has helped them maybe make a decision of whether they'll go into interior design or come into this industry at any level, sure, that would be great. Yeah. Or maybe they'll decide not to go into it after listening to both of us. No. But that's also good. Yes. And thank you, Laura.
Yeah, thank you.